So on the one hand, we have those people who say, I am more productive now than ever because of this time inside, and I've started 3 businesses, and this is the time to do all this self-improvement and everything. And on the other hand, you have the people who say, here's how I am so hugely productive using just 2 Post-it notes every day. And I'm in the middle saying, I put on yoga pants today and a t-shirt and something approaching a bra. It's a good day. And that's where we are. Hey folks, it's Leigh Monet with Diaries number 4, if I'm counting correctly. This one is actually going to be fairly quick. I look a hot mess today and I don't care. My area around me is kind of a mess. I just wanted to come on and do this really quickly. I'm just feeling really, for lack of a better term, meh right now. Like last night, I just felt like, I think I wrote in my journal that it feels like the world is spinning out of control, but simultaneously I am totally stuck and not moving anywhere. And those 2 things are diametrically opposed, and that's what I feel like I'm sitting in the middle of, right? Everything's like crazy and topsy-turvy, but also I feel completely inert. I'm just overcome with inertia, like I can't do anything. That is not a good feeling. But as of today, this is Friday, April 3rd, and I will be getting this out tomorrow. As of today, just a few minutes ago when I checked my weather app, there are 2,845 COVID-19 cases in Tennessee, 0 added from yesterday, which maybe is a good thing, but we'll see. I have a feeling the numbers are going to keep increasing. But anyways, that's where we stand right now. As far as, and I didn't mention this in the first video, I think I was just being really rehearsed. And that's something that is one of the things that I was just, that was causing me to feel really negative last night was my regular videos, my like skincare and those types of videos. I just feel like they feel really unnatural still. And I'm a person who's not unused to being on camera. I mean, I'm an actor, so I've done some camera work. I've not done a lot. I've not done as much as I want to do, but I just feel like I'm on camera and I need to have my on camera, whatever, persona and voice. And it's really frustrating. And I actually considered, I'm going to be releasing a video today, Friday, and I really considered last night, thinking about it after having filmed it and then edited it, I was thinking, you know what, I just want to scrap it and just start all over because I feel like the information's good, but my delivery it's so, I don't know if stilted is the right word, but it just feels very rehearsed, like it's not totally naturally me. And that's one of the things that I want to do with these Diaries is, one, just talk about the state of the world as we're going through this thing that we're going through, but also try to just be a little more natural, a little more like me, like if I was talking to a human. And that's what a lot of people will say when they're giving tips for how to deal with talking to a camera. Treat the camera like it's a friend, and I feel like I'm losing sight of that. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But anyways, so yeah, Friday, April 3rd, it's not going to be April 5th till Sunday. All the sports stuff is canceled, suspended, whatever. I mean, the NBA was suspended weeks and weeks ago. Major League Baseball was supposed to have started by now. It is not. NCAA, the whole March Madness stuff is canceled. Men's and women's. The hockey season was suspended, canceled. I think it's all suspended right now just because we don't know quite where things are going. And nothing's going on. So we don't have all the normal diversions that we would normally have. We can't go to movie theaters. We can't go to theaters, like live theater. Can't go to clubs, can't go to restaurants, can't go to all sorts of things. And so it's like I said, it feels like we're just in this inertia. It feels like to me like we're in this inertia thing. We're just standing still, and yet everything is just all overturned and nothing's normal. And nothing is normal. And it's funny because I was watching, I kind of half watched, I watched a little bit of an episode of Touched by an Angel. And if you went through the 90s and early 2000s, you probably remember Touched by an Angel, even if you never watched it. And I never watched it. It's a little too treacly and earnest for me. But I had gotten up early yesterday morning, well, earlier than I normally do, and there was an episode playing, and it was centered around 9/11, and I wanted to see one of the plot points. And so I watched part of it. They have some full episodes up on YouTube, some channel does, or maybe multiple channels. But anyways, I'm watching it. First of all, Blair Brown is in it. Blair Brown is a wonderful actor, whatever you want to call her. And so that sort of made it a little better. But at one point she's crying to one of the angels and talking about, like, because there is a person that she knew who has gone missing, and it becomes clear, and in fact it's pretty much proven, that he was in the towers visiting someone when they were hit, and so he is gone. And she said, nothing's the same. Nothing is the same. And that feeling of everything has changed, nothing's the same, and now what do we do? And now we're totally lost, and we spend some time being lost, and that's, I think, where we are right now. The problem is we don't know where it's gonna stop or end, and so there we are. So yeah, everything's just in this weird state. Okay, a few things that I've done in the last few days. I have taken a workshop, Qigong for runners. So I have been following Chi Running, C-H-I Running, and I'll link to that down below. I have been a runner on and off since about the time I moved to Atlanta in 2007. I joined a running group and I started doing some running with that, and found out that I really enjoyed it. I have never been athletic at all in any way, shape, or form, pretty much. So I really, really enjoyed that. I think because it's solitary, it's not a team sport. I'm not a team sport person. But Chi Running, they incorporate aspects of Tai Chi into running, hence Chi Running. And years ago, when I was in college, I took a movement for actors class. I'm pretty sure it was movement for actors. And the professor, who was also an actress herself, had us doing Tai Chi, because she did Tai Chi as part of her physical practice, and it was so good. And I hadn't done it for so long, and I took that workshop yesterday via Zoom, of course, because everything's being done via Zoom and stuff like that now. And it reawakened this oh wow, this feels really good. And I remembered a lot of the movements and everything. And I will link to a Qigong channel that I just subscribed to yesterday, because I want to start incorporating some of that into my life again. I'll link to that down below. I believe, is it called Qigong with Ksenia or something like that? I'll link to it. I'll also link to some information about Chi Running. But after the workshop, they sent out a link to a replay of the workshop so you could watch it again. And also they do Chi Running workshops to help teach you how to put their principles into practice to help make running safer and more comfortable and easier, and something that helps to prevent injury and things like that. And of course, again, everything's being done by Zoom and stuff like that, so you don't have to go somewhere, and it's less expensive, and it's actually really affordable. So I'm seriously considering doing that. It will start, I think, in a couple weeks, and seriously thinking about doing that, because I feel like having something physical to do would be really helpful for me. I want to get back into running and add some more Tai Chi and Qigong into my life and my physical practice. And I think Qigong and Tai Chi are very much energy centered. They're put in with martial arts, but it's not martial arts in the same sense that karate and kung fu are, but it's a lot of it is energy, and the flow of energy through your body and everything. So it's pretty cool stuff. So that was pretty neat. I'm just trying to be aware of not trying to take every single workshop that comes my way, even if they're free. I mean, it's great that they're free, but whatever. Another thing that I watched yesterday was, there's this really cool channel here on YouTube called Folding Ideas, and he talks about film, a lot of things about the structure of film and the physical structure, so how they set up shots, but also the structure of scripts and things like that, and the ideas being presented in film. And he just recently released a video about how he cannot stop watching Contagion, which I believe is from 2015, and it is eerily similar to what we're going through now. And you've probably heard of Contagion, because I believe at one point at least it was the #1 streamed movie on Netflix within the last couple weeks. Not a surprise. But he did a very interesting video about watching Contagion and then connecting it to what we're going through right now and what we're feeling and everything. I'll link to that down below. And his is a channel that I really want to start watching more of, because in wanting to explore filmmaking and perhaps become a filmmaker myself, I think I need to be exposed to some of those ideas about structure of film, and when one person's perspective of when it works and when it doesn't, and where there are issues and where there are strengths and things like that. I think that would be really helpful for me. An article that I found on BuzzFeed, "This Pandemic is Not Your Vacation." Really interesting read. I'll have it linked down below. And then a couple of things as far as support. There are all sorts of charities and nonprofits and things that you can support right now. And here are two that I am going to be supporting. One of them is World Central Kitchen. That is Chef Jose Andres's, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. First of all, he sounds like one of the most stand-up human beings ever. He is just so giving. And World Central Kitchen provides support after natural disasters. They've been in Haiti after earthquakes, and they've done all sorts of stuff all over the world. And of course, they're doing a lot of stuff for COVID support because there are kids who are out of school who aren't being fed. There are restaurants that have closed. Healthcare workers are working overtime and need support. And so they're trying to get resources, and they are getting resources and putting them together and then serving those people who need to be served. And I will link to their page down below, hashtag Chefs for America. There are all sorts of ways that you can support restaurants and healthcare workers and address food insecurity right now, because of course there's a lot of food insecurity and a lot of kids, the only meal they get is when they go to school, and if they're not going to school right now, how are they eating? So that's one of the things they're addressing, among other things, but I'll link to that down below. And that is something that I definitely want to support. In addition to supporting independent bookstores, James Patterson, the author, started a fund to save independent bookstores, because again, most of them are either closed or are only doing like pickup type services, so people can't go in and browse. And of course, this is something that's happening across small business, just all of it. It's a really precarious time. It was a precarious time anyways, but now it's even worse with everything going on, with stores having to be closed or, only having like pickup type services if they're even allowed to do that. And it's decimating retail, and the independent bookstores really need support. So that is another thing that I am definitely going to be supporting, and I'll link to that down below. Finally, Bill Waterson, the cartoonist behind Calvin and Hobbes. And if you are not aware of Calvin and Hobbes, you should be, because it was sublime. It was a cartoon that ran, I believe it was in the 90s. Was it in the 90s? Hold on, I have one of the books. The days are just packed. So Calvin was a 6-year-old boy, or is a 6-year-old boy. He will always be a 6-year-old boy because he'll never grow up. Yes, it was from the 90s. And Hobbes is his tiger, who is, in the world of adults, it's a stuffed tiger, but in the world of Calvin, the tiger is real and alive and talks to Calvin, and they interact and they have adventures together. And Calvin is very subversive and a bit evil, and maybe even a little bit satanic, but in the best way possible. He's delightful. He really is delightful and evil, and just everything that a very clever, smart, but doesn't understand his own power 6-year-old. I mean, that's him. But Bill Waterson's behind that absolutely wonderful, wonderful, sublime cartoon, and he left at the height of its popularity and just walked away. And just recently, I was made aware of his commencement address for Kenyon College, which he attended Kenyon College, and he did a commencement address. What year is this? And I will link to it down below. In 1990, he did their commencement address. And it was in the James Clear newsletter. I talked about atomic habits, I believe, in the last Virus Diaries, and I was in the process of finishing that. And he sends out an email newsletter every week, and he put a chunk of this in his newsletter and linked to the full one. But I want to, in this world that we live in that is always pushing productivity and pushing that you need to constantly be reinventing yourself and making a better version of yourself and doing and producing and all this stuff, and you just can't stop. Here is what he had to say about this kind of idea in 1990. Creating a life that reflects your values and satisfies your soul is a rare achievement. In a culture that relentlessly promotes avarice and excess as the good life, a person happy doing his own work is usually considered an eccentric, if not a subversive. Ambition is only understood if it's to rise to the top of some imaginary ladder of success. Someone who takes an undemanding job because it affords him the time to pursue other interests and activities is considered a flake. A person who abandons a career in order to stay home and raise children is considered not to be living up to his potential. As if a job title and salary are the sole measure of human worth. You'll be told in 100 ways, some subtle and some not, to keep climbing and never be satisfied with where you are, who you are, and what you're doing. There are a million ways to sell yourself out, and I guarantee you'll hear about them. To reinvent your own life's meaning is not easy, but it's still allowed, and I think you'll be happier for the trouble. And there's more in his speech, and like I said, I'll link to it down below. But that just, at this time in life, at this time in the world, when we're going through what we're going through, that really struck me. This idea, and he talks about his, you know, as the comic strip became more and more popular, you know, people wanted him to license stuff and sell merchandise and all this, and he, like I said, he walked away from the success because he just didn't want to participate in that anymore. And to have that kind of courage and to be willing to live life according to your own terms in a way that doesn't support what society is telling you should do, that goes counter to what society is telling you, it takes a lot of bravery. And that's something that I want to always keep in mind, even as I am working on, you know, yes, I want to make a better version of myself, but I have to be careful that that doesn't become the be all and end all. And, you know, like he said, people who take undemanding jobs because they want to devote their energy, most of it, to other things, people are like, well, you know, you have to be doing what you love to do as your career and all this stuff. And if you can, that's wonderful. But for some people, you know, they're fine with taking, you know, a job at a grocery store and then doing what they truly love on the side because that works for them. They should be allowed to do that and not made to feel like that's bad or wrong or anything. Okay, that's it. Yeah, I was a little bit of a hot mess today and whatever. Well, I mean, I kind of look just like a hot mess, whatever. I put on a little bit of makeup, so just know I didn't wake up like this. My hair is kind of a mess because I was actually doing work outside and everything, and I don't know, just wanted to get this down into a video and then get it out to y'all. Okay, like I said, stuff's gonna be linked down below. Read Bill Waterson's commencement address. It's beautiful, and it's sublime. And read Calvin and Hobbes. Read Calvin and Hobbes because there is nothing else like it. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you have so many other things you could be doing, and I appreciate you taking time to sit here and listen to me ramble about stuff. And if you are not already, please subscribe. I do all sorts of stuff, including these virus diaries. I do a lot of skincare stuff, a lot of stuff about middle aging. I'm a middle-aged woman, and life is interesting right now, and life is really interesting right now, especially for everybody, no matter what age you are. But if you've not already subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted to whenever I release a video. I'm releasing a little bit more content right now because, oddly enough, I had a little more time on my hands. And yeah, thanks so much for being here. Take care of yourself. I hope you are doing well, and I will see you on my next video.